Hey, book besties. I'm so excited. I finally took the leap of faith to jump on over to YouTube. If you don't know me and have never seen me before, hi, my name's Nash. I like to read and talk about all things books. I feel like long form content might be better for me because I'm a little bit of a rambler. I like to run my jib, especially about things that I'm passionate about or really enjoy. So, what better way to start a new channel in a new year than to talk about what happened last year? So in this video, I'm going to talk about my 2023 reads, and I'm going to do from August to October since that's where it all started. And let's dive right in. So I do have my notes in front of me. The first book I read was Vampire's Mate by Valerie Twombly, but I don't remember nothing about this book at all. It was okay. It was good. It was a great reintroduction to reading and getting back into like paranormal romance and the fantasy space, but it was not very memorable. I believe the MMC's name is Marcus. Anyways, but overall, it was okay. I gave the book a 3 stars. So then I wanted something with a little bit more kick, okay? And Haunting Adeline was circling book talk at the time. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Why don't I just pick it up? So I read Haunting and Hunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. I gave Haunting Adeline a 5 stars and I gave Hunting Adeline a 4 stars. Haunting Adeline was so much fun, okay? I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. This one, we follow Adeline and our MMC's name is Zaid. Zaid unalives people who are a part of the sex trafficking ring, and Adeline is an author. Adeline's at a book signing, and Zaid walks past and sees her and instantly falls into obsession, so he begins to stalk her. Granted, in this book, the stalking vibe with Adeline, it was okay. I actually really liked it. In real life, please do not play that shit. Please do not play that shit. But if you are going to read these books, please check your trigger warnings because they do have some heavy content, especially in Hunting Adeline. Because in that one, the first half of the book, Adeline has been abducted and taken into sex trafficking. So you have to deal with things like rape, unaliving, obviously sex trafficking, things like that. So please check the trigger warnings. But that's the only reason why Hunting Adeline got docked down a little bit, was because that just first part was like, it made my spirit uneasy. But then part 2, where she got her revenge, that was for me. Okay. She linked back up with Zaid. They was like, we finna get these people and we finna take them all down. And that's exactly what they did. And I loved it, enjoyed it, ate it up. When I say dark romance was just my jam at this time, I was living for it. Okay. So I decided to pick up The Ritual by Shantel Tessier. This one I did give a 4 stars. I don't know why I gave it a 4 stars, because I really did have a great time reading it, but I don't know. I think at the time it just wasn't like, wow, you know what I mean? It wasn't, and I did just come off reading Haunting Adeline. So I did give it a 4 stars, but in this one, we follow Riot and Blakely. Blakely is a woman in the world of the Lords, and Riot is a Lord's member. Riot and Blakely become chosens, and this is their journey through the world of lords, dealing with all the chaos and orders and things that come along with that. This book really helped me solidify that I love secret society, something going on in the background, some kind of underground something. I'm here for that. Okay. I'm here for that. And Blakely, I just loved that she was not that type of girl that you just gonna do whatever you want. Okay. Yes, she likes she likes most of it. But if she's not rocking with it, she's going to let you know. You know what I'm saying? And I think the ending of that book, where we got to see Riot and Blakely in the future, was also one of my favorite things. I hope that Shantel does a spinoff with all the Lord's kids. That would be so, so good. Then after reading The Ritual, I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get into some fantasy. Let me get into some romantasy. And at this time, Fourth Wing was the big romantasy book everyone was talking about. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I just go ahead and pick it up? It's going to be amazing anyway. So I did. This is the Fourth Wing Special Edition. I do have the standard edition up there somewhere. But this book, y'all, I still have not read a book that was as bingeable as this one. When I tell you I didn't put it down, I literally eat, sleep, breathed this book for 2 days until I was finished. This one, we follow Violet. she's in a war college. Her mother is the general. They have 4 quadrants: the healers, the riders, the scribes, and the infantry. Violet's been training to be a scribe, okay? She's been training her whole life to be a scribe. Her dad was a scribe. But her mom, after her dad died, is like, nah. You're going to go to the writer's quadrant. Excuse me, tongue piercings. Get you tongue-tied. But she has to join the writer's quadrant. She does have disabilities, so it is a little bit harder for her to adapt and be successful, but she doesn't let that stop her. My girl Violet, she's like, nah, I'm not gonna let that stop me. This one was so much fun. It was so easily digestible. The world building was good, but it was easy to understand and follow along with. Our MMC is Zayden. He does have like shadow powers, which I love a good shadow daddy, okay? I love me a good shadow daddy. But this one is just so good. There's dragons, there's romance, there's magic in the form of signets, there's politics, there's mommy issues. It's just overall loved this book so much. So much. And of course, after coming off of reading Fourth Wing, I did go into just a little bit of a reading slump, but I knew I wanted to continue my romantasy journey, but I wanted a book series that had obviously more than one book published. So I picked up From Blood and Ash by Jennifer Armentrout, and I'm so glad I did, y'all, because this series has just been such a big part of my heart since I started back reading. It's literally been, I've read most of this series last year. So this book, we follow Poppy. She is a maiden in the Kingdom of Solace. Poppy knows nothing. Okay? Poppy knows nothing. They hide everything from her. She doesn't know the truth about her kings, her government. She's not allowed to talk to people. No one's allowed to talk to her. She's not allowed to interact with anybody. Nobody's allowed to interact with her. She is supposed to be chosen by the gods, and that is very important in the Kingdom of Solace. Then she gets to meet Hawk. Okay, Hawk is an Atlantean who is undercover, right? I'm not gonna give it too much, but he's an Atlantean who's undercover and ends up becoming Poppy's personal guard. He ends up, doing some things he shouldn't be doing, but it's such a good story. This is Poppy's journey to discovering herself. There's a bit of like, I like to call it found identity when the main character has this like secret past or this family that they don't know about, or powers or whatever the case that they just don't know. And there's definitely that in this book. The world building is good. The plot is good. I think the story is super interesting. So I decided to go ahead and pick up book 2, which is The Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. This one I did give a 4 stars. Back to A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. This one just continues Poppy and Castiel's story, and we get a little bit more of the world building. We get to hear about more about Atlantia and the history behind the Kingdom of Solace and Atlantia. Guys, this book right here made me fall in love with Castiel. I loved Hawk, because don't get it twisted. They were one and the same, but different, if that makes sense. So From Blood and Ash, we get Hawk, we get cute, we get, oh, he's so charming. In The Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, we get Castiel, okay? There's no more secrets, there's nothing hidden, but he is falling in love with my girl Poppy, and he falls first, and I love that. And I just can't say great enough things about this series. This one was also a 4 star, so I had to pick up book 3, which is The Crown of Gilded Bones. This is when shit starts getting hectic, okay? This is really when the story picks up, really when the world gets to like sink in even deeper. Guys, this is where Poppy goes to Atlantia for the first time. She finds out that she might be that it girl. You know what I'm saying? It might not be them. It might not be the man. It's her. She's the it girl. And I did start off my September right by continuing my JLA reading order. I read A Shadow in the Ember, which is book 1 in the Flesh and Fire series, which is the prequel to Blood and Ash. And this one, guys, I love it, okay? This one we follow Serafina, or Sarah, and Nyktos. Sarah is a maiden as well, a little bit different than Poppy, But she has a mission, and her mission is to become the consort of the Primal of Death and kill him to save her kingdom from the rot. Now, when time comes and Sarah comes to the right age, which is not the right age, but when she comes of age and they do the ritual to call the Primal of Death, he's basically like, I have no need for a consort. And just left my girl. Basically left her on the altar. Basically left my girl at the altar, y'all. But since she has failed to become the consort of the Primal of Death, she's basically spends the next 3 years being told she's useless and that she's the reason the kingdom's gonna die, woody woody woo. And it's honestly really sad how they were treating her. But her mom decides to still use her as an assassin to unalive people from other kingdoms. So there's that. But when Poppy is in danger and Nikto shows up, Niktos is like, okay, you know what? I'ma come. I'ma come now. And the part where he shows up, y'all, he shows up at like the perfect time, okay? Sarah is about to be beaten with a whip by her bitch ass stepbrother because he is garbage with a capital garbage, okay? And Sarah gets her lick back. She gets her lick back. My girl's like, I'm about to get up out of here. I'm about to go with Nikos, okay? But once Sarah and Nikos get together, she realizes that he's not all everybody made him out to seem. They made him seem big and scary and bad, which he is. But he's also kind and caring and sweet. And Sarah's trying to navigate how she's feeling with what she's actually dealing with, interacting with Nikos, and her mission. Because her mission is to save her kingdom, whether she agrees or not. But I love Sarah in this one. I like this one just a little bit more than Blood and Ash because they're the blueprint. They're the OGs. All the things that I know and love about Poppy, she get it from her grandma. Yeah, she gets it from her grandma. And this one was just 4-star book as well. And after reading A Shadow in the Ember, I did just take a wee break from JLA and I read my first Y2s and baby. Ooh, I read Den of Vipers by K.A. Knight. This one, we follow Roxy. She is the proud owner of a dive bar called Rockers. Her father is a horrible dad, okay? He's in debt to the Vipers, and he decides to sell his daughter to pay off his debt. So the Vipers, who are Ryder, Kenzo, Diesel, and Garrett, all go to Rockers to pick up Roxy, who is their reward. Ugh, hate how that sounds. But Roxy's not just every girl, okay? She already runs with the out crowd, okay? She already runs with the black sheep. All her customers and her regulars are basically criminals or sketchy ass people, okay? So she's used to being around some people that's a little, sketch. But they go into her bar to pick her up, y'all. One of my favorite scenes in this whole book. They go to pick her up from the bar and she picks up her bat. She's like, okay, y'all think just because I'm a little woman, y'all finna play me. One of them tries to go over there and grab her up. She cracks him in the fucking kneecaps with her bat, y'all. She cracks him in the fucking kneecaps with her bat. Roxy, bow down, okay? All hell Roxy, because baby girl was not playing. She said, y'all not finna come up in my shit trying to snatch me and not get no repercussions. Long story short, they do get Roxy, but she ends up going to live with the Vipers, and this is their journey through her coming to terms with the fact that her father sold her. And now the Vipers owner, they live in this nice penthouse, and the Vipers are how would I say it? They're like mafia, but not mafia. Like they have their own little business, their own little underground enterprise. And Roxy's just like, whatever. But one thing about Roxy is my girl, my girl likes to get down. My girl likes to get down and dirty. And that's exactly what she does with all four of these Vipers. Okay. My personal favorite Viper is Kenzo. I think Kenzo is very sweet, very charismatic. He adds that like soft and lightheartedness to a messed up situation for Roxy. But I also love Garrett. I love a good brooding man. Garrett don't even let her touch him in the beginning. In the beginning. Garrett don't like women because he's been scarred in his life, but they all fall in love for Roxy, and I love that. The ending of this book just made me smile so much because it was very Vipers, but it was also super sweet. I did give this one a 5 stars. I just had such a good time reading it, and it made me realize love triangle who? Not love triangle me. Not love triangle me. Baby, I don't gotta choose because guess what? Why choose? Then after getting my love filled with that sounded so wrong. But after falling in love with 4 Vipers, I did cycle back around to the Blood and Ash series and I read book 4, which is The War of Two Queens. And this is my favorite book in the series so far. This is my favorite book in the series so far because Poppy's feminine rage in this one, her feminine rage in this one was to die for, okay? So I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to give a little tidbit. I'm not going to spoil it. But something big happens at the end of The Crown of Gilded Bones, which is book 3. And Poppy is not happy. My girl is hurt. Hurt is not even, not even the word, okay? Something happens to her man's, Castile. Poppy's not happy. There are several times in this book where Poppy has to choose between doing what she knows is right and what Castile would want her to do and doing what her inner self wants to do, which is cause motherfucking havoc and burn the whole motherfucking place down. Okay, this one, Poppy and Kieran get to really develop a really good relationship. Kieran is a Wolven who has been with Castile all his life, but when something happens to Castile, Kieran takes up the mantle and is really there for Poppy. He's really her backbone and her support system. And that just made me love Kieran even more. And I just really felt for Poppy in this one because if somebody messes with my man, if somebody messes with my man, I'm on that ass, okay? Listen, what's that saying? A hero will a hero will give up you to save the world and the villain will burn the world to save you. I'm with the villain, okay? You mess with my mans, bitch, it's on and popping. So that just that just touched my spirit and made me love this book so much. I love that even the revelations that were made in this book were so flabbergasting. The last sentence, one thing about JLA and one thing about me, I love a good last sentence. I need something absolutely mind-boggling, like there's not another sentence after this. This is it. I need to know what happens next. And these last 2 books, book 3 and book 4, yeah. Yeah. I did give this one a 5 stars. This was my first 5-star book of the series because it was so incredible. And that last sentence at the end brought it full circle. Was like, yeah, there's no way you're giving this less than a 5-star. No way. Okay. So I did only read a few books in September because I did have a festival that month. So I wasn't reading that much. In October, I did make it up. I started with some gothy spooky vibes. The first book I read was Together We Rot by Skyla Arndt. This one, it was short. It was fun. We follow Will as our FMC. Her mother disappears and she thinks her best friend Elle, that his family is responsible. She thinks they're in a cult and she's trying to navigate her friendship with Elle while also trying to figure out what happened to her mom when she thinks his family's involved. It has culty vibes. It's got like a bit of a sentient forest. It's got friends. It was so interesting. I thought the plot was a story that I never really expected. It was a lot of fun. This one, I did give it a 3 stars. It wasn't like incredible. It wasn't amazing. It was just a good, fun book. It was short. I loved it. Then my girl JLA did have a new release, which was Fall of Ruin and Wrath. This is book 1 in her new Awakening series. And baby, I was so happy to start a JLA series from the beginning because as you guys seen earlier in this video, I spent most of my reading journey in 2023 trying to catch up with the other series she had published. This one, it was spicy. It was fun. She literally wrote the spice into the plot. This one, we follow Callista. She has the gift of intuition, and there are these beings called Highborn, and they feed off pleasure. Our MMC's name is Thorn. Guys, they feed off pleasure. When I tell you the spice in this book, it was like some of it was subtle, some of it was in your face. It was so good. One of my favorite characters in here is Naomi, and there's a scene where her and Callista are in this, like, it basically sounds like a sex party. If I'm being completely honest, they're basically, you know, doing the deed everywhere, and Naomi's just sitting there playing with Callista in exactly the context you mean. This one was a lot of fun. This one was a 5-star book for me. I just enjoyed it way too much. And I was, again, very happy to start a JLA series from the beginning. And continuing on with my shorter reads, I read Betrayal and Banditry by Jess Drew. This is book 1 in the Sunset at Dawn series. Again, short, fun. I actually really enjoyed this one. It follows Elspeth. She is a noblewoman turned thief, and our MMC is Prince Otello. He is a sacred prince. They were betrothed once, but neither of them remembers. And for whatever reason, the powers that be basically stripped Elspeth of her noblewoman status and basically tried to hunt her down. So now she's on the run with a group of bandits trying to get her shit back. She's like, this is my birthright, okay? You're not just gonna take my shit like that. It's not gonna happen. And this is the series of their journey trying to find out or remember that they were betrothed to one another. I'm actually really excited to read book 2 of this. It hasn't come out for a while, and this one I did give a 3 stars. I'm really excited to continue the series. I think it'll just get better. I didn't give it a 4-star just because there wasn't anything like fantabulous, or I wasn't like second guessing myself or, needed to read the next book immediately. So, but overall, it was a lot of fun. It was a great addition to my October reads because it was just short and sweet and got to the point. And continuing on with the spooky gothic vibes, I read One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns in October, and these were 2 of my favorite reads of 2023 because it was giving what it was supposed to give, okay? I was looking for dark, I was looking for spooky, and it gave me all of those things. This one we follow Elspeth. She has a special guest in her brain. His name is the Nightmare. She ended up touching a card which resembles a tarot card, and the Nightmare got absorbed into her. There is a mist that you cannot go in or you will die. And this is the story of how she and a few other characters, Raven, Elm, Ione, they basically are on the journey to clear the mist so that way they can save their town. I had so much fun. This one made me really interested in dark fantasy because it, like I said, it just gave that spooky, like almost haunted vibe. I loved it so much. The Nightmare was one of my favorite characters. And in Two Twisted Crowns, we really get to dive back into the history of why the cards exist, Nightmare's backstory a little bit more. We really get some more Nightmare in book 2. We also get a little side love story between Elm and Ione, and that was a pleasant surprise, but I really did enjoy it. I gave both of these books 5 stars. I was like, absolutely not. One Dark Window, I did have a little bit of a epiphany after reading Two Twisted Crowns, because initially I did rate One Dark Window 4 stars, but then after I read Two Twisted Crowns and I thought back on it, I was like, yeah, yeah, there's no way. They both were 5 stars. And it was perfect. I had such a good time reading these. And after being so heavy in JLA series, trying to catch up before the next book release, I did want to pick up and start some other series. So I picked up Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. This is book 1 in the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy. In this one, we follow Amelia. Her twin sister, Victoria, is brutally murdered, and she's trying to figure out what happened. In this, there's witches, there's princes of hell. You got, obviously, her sister was murdered, so you have that like investigation type aspect of it. I really enjoyed this one. I think that they always make beings from hell, whether they're demons, whether they're princes of hell, whether they're the king of hell, whatever the case may be, they always make beings from hell fine. Okay? Like fine. Every time I read the descriptions of these guys, I'm like, whew, why you gotta be from hell though? Why you gotta be from hell though? But the prince that we follow in this one is Prince Wrath, and he is summoned and he's trying to help her, but also not help her. It was really fun. I had a good time. I'm excited to read the rest of the trilogy, which I do have up here. This one I did give a 4 stars. So again, I'm excited to read the rest of the series. And in October, I did listen to my very first audiobook, which was A Broken Blade by Melissa Blair. I was a little bit on the fence about listening to audiobooks because I just wasn't sure if it was going to be for me, but I listened to it while I was driving or cooking or cleaning, and I loved that I still got to read new stories while not being able to use my hands or hold a book or my Kindle. This story, we do follow Kira. She is a halfling, and she is basically the king's assassin. Unfortunately, the king basically makes her murder her own kin because he does not like halflings and wants to wipe them out basically unless they're useful to him. Kira is an alcoholic, but once some things start going awry in the kingdom, then Kira decides to stop drinking so she can really sharpen her mind and be able to catch this person that is causing ruckus in the kingdom. This person ends up, they meet and helps her join this revolution where they want to free the halflings. And I just loved the representation in Kira with her being a recovering alcoholic. As someone who's had family recover from alcoholism, I think it just it hit a little close to home for me, and I did really enjoy it. This one I did give a 3 stars, and I was actually really excited to continue the series at this point. And after taking a couple books break, I did pick back up with JLA and read A Light in the Flame. This is book 2 of the Flesh and Fire series, again, which is the prequel to Blood and Ash. This one, we continue to follow Sarah and Nyktos. The story gets a little bit deeper. The world building gets a little bit deeper. We meet some additional characters, like more primals and the people that are loyal to Nyktos. Sarah realizes that Nyktos is not exactly who he's supposed to be. He's not the primal of death. Well, not the true primal of death. He's the current primal of death. Yes, there is a difference. But he has these people that are loyal to him, but he also is basically a subordinate of Colas, who is the king of gods and the true primal of death. There's a whole backstory on how he becomes the king of gods, but I'm not going to spoil that part. This one, it really picked up speed in this one, and I just knew once I finished this one that book 3 was going to be absolute chaos. I did give this one a 4 stars, so I was really excited to read the next book. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you love all things books too, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.